All right, everybody, I'm getting ready rather to do the last draft. This is a super draft. If you're a non-expansion team, this is probably the most important draft, and it should be the most important draft in your season. Now, before I get going, I want to just kind of show you a couple little tips and tricks. Basically, when you get the message of the super draft starting, it tells you there's 188 players. And at the very beginning of January, you'll get another message about the draft, or 2 weeks out, something like that. And it tells you how many players are available in the draft. Just to make sure it's 188, and that's what it was to begin with. Now, what you should do is immediately come over to scouting. You want to go to players and players in your range, and you want to go ahead and come over here. And if you notice down here in the additional conditions, declared for the upcoming MLS Super Draft. If you click on that and make that yes, and you got to change the ages sometimes. I don't think anybody in the draft is over 23, but you can make it 28, 29, whatever you want to. You're not going to pick up anybody that's in the draft. All right. So, it doesn't really matter. Then go ahead and leave the positions open like that. Everything else should just be standard, and then hit OK. Now, an important thing is sometimes this is selected. All right. You need to make sure that's off. Now, it didn't change anything at this moment because the draft is actually pretty much in session, so that's why they're available now. But go ahead and deselect it because they're not interested in transfer when you first start trying to scout them, because they can't, they declare for the draft, so they're ineligible to be signed on a free transfer and different things like that. So just make sure that's checked, and then make sure your scouts are actually not all on assignment, or that they don't have focuses set at the moment. What I do is I usually have all my scouts available, and they scout these as quickly as they can. Now, some of them are going to be extensive, and other ones are going to be none. But they're going to give you a grade, and they're going to give you their potential and ability. So that's the important factor there. And I already checked it. You click on here, and you scroll all the way down. There's 188. So that's how you know you got all the players. And that's 188 players found. All right. That's the one thing I wanted to show you, just because that's very important. That way you go into the draft with at least knowledge of each play or each available player in the draft. Okay, this is what the draft looks like. Now, if you notice, if I wouldn't have traded with Toronto, I would have the first pick and the second pick, which that would have been amazing because I could have had two Generation Adidas players. Remember, the league pays for them, so and it would be nice. Another thing is that the first round players almost always want a senior contract, which is fine with me because I have senior slots open in this tutorial series, so it's going to work out great. But the important thing for me is to build in for you should be not just building for this year, but building for the future. The MLS is different than any league. Everybody plans for the future by having future players, that they're going to build up and hopefully overtake their first team players. In the MLS, you're going to lose a lot of your team each year. It happens, and you're crazy if you don't accept bids that come in for these players. As long as it's a decent bid and it can provide allocation money or provide a better future for you, then you need to take it. I know you can't get hung up on wanting to keep these players. Even the young ones, if you get an outstanding bid, you have to take it because the MLS just doesn't have the financial power to keep all these players for years and years. It just doesn't happen. So with that in mind, that's why I did that trade. So next year, I actually have 5 draft picks again, and I'm most likely going to trade 1 or 2 of them in the first round because I'm not going to need this many first rounders, but that's excellent trade bait. There's a goalkeeper that I really, really want, and Dallas has him. He's a 24-year-old. He's a 4-star potential or 4-star ability already. I really want him, and they want a crap load. So that's good trade bait also. So we'll get into that later. All right. Before the draft starts, I always come here and go by my recommended, what the scouts are recommended, and I also shortlisted the players that I want to draft anyway. So it really doesn't matter. And yes, I should be able to get all these because everybody's expecting you to follow the mock draft. When I don't, and it just throws them out of kilter. But I want Simpson. He's one of the 3 players that have 4.5 to 5-star potential, and he's young. He's 19. So I really want him. So I get the first pick, and he is a Generation Adidas player, which means the league pays for it. But let me see this kid. He has 4-star solid potential right now, with potential to be 4.5, maybe 5. We'll see. But he's a spirited young striker. He has decent stats already, and he's going to fill right into my first team. So I'm really excited about that. Not that many people want him. Maybe they have strikers already. And that's the other thing in the draft. You want to kind of, in the first round at least, you should plan for your immediate use. You know, I have openings in the striker position. He would fit right in, and that's why I'm going by my needs of my team. So I'm taking this kid. See, that's why they traded up. They wanted him. So that's cool because I didn't want him anyway. I wanted Simpson. Draft. Yes. Now, a lot of these guys are going to start coming off the board. And I'm just checking. Oh, that's right. I forgot to tell you. I did have some offers. Now, next year, I might trade away all my first round picks. You never know. I mean, you can find a gem in the later rounds too if you want to. But I didn't want to make that because I want Simpson. So it was good. I'm going to skip to my next pick. Okay. If you notice, these two guys, my short list, my players are still here. All right. And I wrote down who I want next. Hernandez. All right. This kid here. He's only 3.5 potential stars, but that's still good for the MLS. And look at his determination. He has a driven personality, so you know that's going to be doing me some good. So it's not bad. I mean, he has teamwork. I mean, he's at bravery's high. I mean, he's just a good all around pick. So Hernandez, it is. And, yep, Foster, he's a defensive back. 3.5 stars, 22. Temperamental, though. That's the only bad thing. But his bravery and work rate are really good. So, I want this kid. Foster. Now, we are in the second round. And I'm skipping ahead. And now we're going to be in the third round. And I got the first pick in the third round, of course. And you want to check down here, but I don't have any offers for anything, and I wouldn't take them now anyway. But I want this kid. Fairly determined. I mean, look at the leadership, determination. Good all-around stats. He's only 3 potential, but once again, he'll be decent. So, you know, who knows? I tell you, I'm getting over this head cold, and it's horrible. I know I haven't produced a video in a few days. I really want to get this done, so I apologize for all this. My throat's starting to feel better. Anyway, a lot of people will tell you that this draft is worthless after the first round. This is a third round pick. I mean, he could come into my team right now and make a contribution. I mean, at 2 stars for current ability, he will line up with most of my players. So I don't. You can find good picks in the draft as long as you scout like I showed you. Scout all the players. That way you're going to get a very good, definitive outlook on what you want. I mean, look at both his feet. He's fairly strong in both of his. I mean, he's just a good pick. I mean, wouldn't you want this kid on your team if it was free to draft him? I mean, come on, man. So don't be afraid to take your picks. You could always waive them at the end of the season or release them or whatever. But, once again, I come in here. And I'm taking him because I did plan this out already. Not to cheat. I just want to save time because if I hit skip pick, I'm going to be going through players for an hour, and I don't want you to sit here for that long. The whole point to this is to get them done quick. But I'm going to take him. Santana. So we're done. So there's not much else I can do. To complete the draft, yes. Now it's going to give you grades. All right, but if you look, I don't think I had that bad of a draft. All right, that one's no good. All right, now, you have to offer your players contracts immediately after you draft them. Otherwise, you have, I don't know how long it is in real life. It's not that long. If you don't sign them, you still own the rights to sign that player, but they become a restricted free agent, and then they can go back to school, and they become college protected. It's crazy. Sign them. It doesn't hurt you at all to sign them. You could always move them down into your affiliate club, or you can go ahead and loan them out. I mean, sign him. Now, I always go ahead and hand it over to Lutz, my general manager. He signed him, fringe player. Once again, they want senior contracts because they were the first players that I drafted in the first round. I'm okay with that. Whoa, important player. Okay, there we go. What the freaking heck? Emergency backup, yeah. My guy is a nut sometimes. Senior contract, I want a 3-year though. For their first contract. Okay, and then Santana, I'm going to hand it over to Lutzy. That's fine with me. He got a reserve contract. There we go. Okay. Takes care of all my players. The heck did he have 2 offers for? Oh. My guys are stupid. Oh, well. My general manager messed it up. But that's okay. But anyway, they'll be on my team in no time. And now it's going to come out with the grade and say, oh, I got an A. I got an A in my main save. But I didn't get an A on this one, I don't think. And I'm okay with that because that's what I needed. That's what I wanted. So don't be put off by that. Yeah, I'm down here. I got a C. But I really don't care. I got the players I wanted. I'm happy with that. We got Simpson. Add to training camp. I'll register here in a minute, but I want him to welcome this kid. I mean, they're overall not bad, you know what I'm saying? I mean, wow. I'm not going to have Nelson do that. But anyhow, that takes care. Oh, there was something else I wanted to show you. Hopefully it will come in. I'll show you that when it does with Adele. He's going to get signed, so that's good. But anyway, I'm going to end it here. I'm going to come back with registering my squad for the final episode on here. And that way you get a really good idea of how to register your squad, but just so you can look. So thanks again, guys, and stay tuned.